And ever since I started switching my mindset to that mentality, just every door that I could have imagined started to open up. Like again, a key example is when I wrestled Randy Orton at WrestleMania.
What's up, you guys? Welcome back into iHeartRadio's official wrestling podcast, the Battleground Podcast. And for the first time since 2011, wow, that's a long time, TNA returns to Pittsburgh Friday and Saturday, June 20th to the 21st. And it's going to be at the UPMC Event Center. And on the show today, a guy that has been on here plenty of times. You say his name, he shows up, he appears. Give it up for Joe Hendry joining the show. Joe, how you been doing, man?
I'm doing very well, thanks. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Glad to have you back here on the show. Now, I got to talk to you because this was a kind of a cool thing recently at Triple Mania. Another viral moment for Joe Hendry coming out to the Spanish version of your song that we've all seen shared many a times on social media. Tell me about the story on how that came about.
How it came about is I got to the venue and they said, we got this cool idea for your entrance. And I thought, oh, okay. I usually handle everything to do with my entrance, but it was actually Triple A that did that. And I think if I can remember the name of the band, I think it's the Easy. I want to put them over here. I want to make sure I get the name absolutely right here. But I didn't actually know about it until we got to the venue. But before they said, yeah, the Easy Band, I was correct. All I needed to do was add band. But yeah, they did an awesome version of my song. And when they said, we're going to do this song, I knew pretty much exactly what it was going to be. So
yeah. And it was great because we were sitting there and I was watching some of the videos and I was watching the footage and I was like, are we getting the regular Joe Hendry song? And then when you start hearing that, I was like, oh, this is fantastic. And you sit here and think about it for a second. How does it feel that people are out here covering your theme song? I mean, we've got Easy Band doing theirs. I think I saw like a dubstep version of your song.
Yeah. I posted that on social media the other day. At Download Festival, there were people with flags and like people really want me to perform at Download Festival. So yeah, I'm seeing a bunch of like new music stuff coming out that's really awesome.
And it's pretty cool that the fact that there's people out here covering your theme song. And like you said, I mean, we got the dubstep version. I'm waiting for like a screamo heavy metal version. That's got to be a cool thing, right? To see people covering like a wrestling theme song, even though it is a real song. It's a chart topping song.
It's very cool. Like I thought the song was good. And like I say, this is a terrible example to use because there's no way to not sound arrogant when I say this. But I saw an interview with Dave Grohl and he was talking about when they made Nevermind by Nirvana. They were like, I mean, we knew it was good, but we didn't know it was that good. And I'm not putting myself in the same category musically or anything, but just to that feeling of you've made something, you know that it's good, but I never would have thought that would have resonated with people this much. I thought it was going to be the parody entrances that I did that were the big thing that got me over, but I was wrong. So yeah, it's been an awesome thing to see.
And I mean, I can't tell you how many times, like, and I've got an 8-year-old who's a big wrestling fan. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times he'll just walk through the house and be like, say his name. And I'm like, it's
You've
caught
taught
on.
Him well. You taught him well.
It is caught on for sure. And the one thing I will tell you that a lot of people have noticed here about TNA recently is clearly all in on building around homegrown talent. And you're at the front of that movement. Was there a moment maybe recently backstage where it clicked for you like, yeah, TNA is at the top of their game. We are one of the like major companies now.
Yeah, that's something I take a lot of pride in. I know the roster take a lot of pride in it as well. I've been with TNA for the last 3 years now, but there's been people who have been there for 10 plus years who have seen it through all different iterations. There have been people who have been there since the very beginning. I've been watching it since 2002. So to be at the forefront of this era where we're doing unprecedented business, like to be honest, business wise, in terms of live gate, I don't know for sure, but it might not be without the realms of possibility to say that this is the best business that TNA's ever done. I don't know the exact metrics on it. I'd love to find that out, but regardless, this is a huge upswing for TNA wrestling. A lot of factors that went into it, and I'm delighted to play my part in that.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. And of course, for the first time since 2011, TNA Wrestling returns to Pittsburgh Friday and Saturday, June 20th of the 21st, held at the UPMC Event Center. Now, this is something awesome because, again, this goes back to the viral moments. You've gone viral on TikTok, trended on X. Fans chant your names in arenas that don't even belong to TNA.
Yeah.
Is wrestling finally waking up to just how powerful personality and online presence really is in 2025?
I think so for sure. But also I think that different waves of popularity in pro wrestling come along for different reasons. I think that it's organic. I think that's the main thing. When you look at any person in professional wrestling who uh, gained popularity quickly, a lot of the time is because it comes from the pure intention of trying to entertain the fans. It's like when I think about top talents in the business that I try to model myself after and look at is like if you look at CM Punk, for example, like he is authentically himself, and that is the thing that resonated with the audience. And the stuff that I've made, whether it be music or wrestling, the things I do, it's things that I would find entertaining, and it comes from a place of genuinely wanting to entertain the audience. And quite honestly, I was happy doing it in front of 200 people. A lot of the time less. I was totally happy. I got to a place when I was completely happy doing it in front of, small crowds and just giving it my all. And I had made a deal with myself. I says, if this is as big as it gets, I'll do it to the absolute best of my ability. And ever since I started switching my mindset to that mentality, just every door that I could have imagined started to open up. Like again, a key example is when I wrestled Randy Orton at WrestleMania. I was not thinking selfishly about, well, what do I want? It was about, right, we've got a situation where we can get a lot of eyeballs on TNA, and then also what's best for the moment in the show as well. And people can say whatever they want to me about that, but it created an iconic moment. It was so much so that a Topps trading card was made out of it. And it's a moment that everyone will remember. With doing my spin into the RKO, and then there's people talked about the second RKO, but when Randy taps me, that's his seal of approval. And also, again, I'm the one that said it. I wanted people to associate my title run with an ascension in big business. And the show after that, the meet and greet lineups were insane. The draw
Mhm.
was insane. So it had a positive impact on business. And that's what my contribution to TNA wrestling is. That's what I want it to all be about.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to tell you, our buddy that does this show with us, Josh, big Joe Hendry fan. Like, I kid you not, anytime a shirt pops up, he's buying it. And he filmed his reaction when that music hit in WrestleMania, and he lost his mind. There's a lot of words that he said that you can't really say on the radio, but we posted the video about it, and it's great. And one thing that was a really cool moment recently, in an interview with Chris Van Vliet, James Storm, who is a TNA legend,
Yeah.
got very emotional. He said, seeing the TNA World Champion having a WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
When legends like that see you as part of TNA's future and legacy, does that come with added pressure, or is it just some motivation?
I think it is more motivation. I mean, I think you get to a certain point where, like I say, I've wrestled Randy Orton at WrestleMania in front of, what was it, 50, 60,000 people, 60,000
Mhm.
people. I did the Rumble with 70,000 people. And at the time, that was the third most watched PLE of all time. So for me, I've kind of been in those those high pressure situations, and I feel like I've delivered. So to me, there just comes a point where you have to accept that if you want to do this at a high level, everything is going to be high pressure. So I think that you're right. I think motivation is more the word that it's very motivating to hear those words. And it's like, right, you got to keep going. There's so many people who would crawl over broken glass to get an opportunity to do a show in professional wrestling or do a show for a major organization. So to be in the spot that I'm in, the worst thing in the world that I could do would be to take that for granted. So for me, it's just about getting as good as I possibly can at this game of professional wrestling and contributing.
Right, absolutely, for sure. And you talk about the motivation, you talk about the pressure. A lot of eyes became on the brand, especially in, just gonna rip the band-aid off. Uh, a TNA World Heavyweight Champion is not somebody on the TNA roster. And of course, a lot of
Yeah.
people have things to say about that. One of those people being Nic Nemeth, who recently was on our show. We talked to him about that for a brief second, and I've got some audio for you. And I want to get your response to what Nick has to say about this.
Let's do it. Yeah.
And Joe Hendry has been doing awesome. Like I beat him a couple times, but he beat me and he won the title. And I patted him on the back and I shook his hand. I said, "Damn it, tonight you were better than me, but in no world are you ever going to be better than me." And at this point, we were rooting for him as the champion because he has all the downloads, he gets the clicks on social media, iTunes, everything you can think of, except for the effing pro wrestling part where he didn't back it up. He went above and beyond to go to do other company shows, and for the most part backed it up. And in this one case, because of him not being able to back it up in the ring, someone who doesn't work in TNA is the TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
So you see Nick say something like that. What's your response to that?
Well, if I can't back it if I can't back it up in the ring and I beat him, what does that make him? But also I think I heard him say some comments about I should get taken to wrestlers court. I mean, I think he should be taken to wrestlers court for bringing Ryan Nemeth to TNA wrestling. That's what I think.
I will say that when we did that interview,
seriously, like, look, Nick's a legend in the game. He's one of the best to ever lace up a pair of boots, and he's a competitive guy. He's going to say things like that. If I was Nic Nemeth, it would hurt my feelings to know that Joe Hendry was the guy for TNA wrestling. And you know what? Me and him competed. Yes, he beat me, but I beat him where it counted, and I became the champion. Look, Nick is a legend of the game. Like I say, one of the best to ever do it. But I fully accept my part in dropping the ball and the TNA World Championship going to another company. So you know what? If Nick has every right to be upset. Every member of the roster should be upset that the TNA title is somewhere else. And that motivates me to go and get it back. And once I do that, if Nick wants another shot, it sounds like we have unfinished business there to me.
I think so. And you know what? I think once Joe Hendry gets that TNA world title back, which we're putting that out in the universe, I think Nic Nemeth gets the first shot. But let's be honest with you, Nic Nemeth's not going to get his hand raised once Joe Hendry becomes the TNA champion again.
I like it. I like your approach here. I like your thinking.
We are putting it out in the universe, and a lot of things are awesome right now with TNA. Of course, in the middle of this wild renaissance, major names are coming to TNA, working relationships, forming with WWE. And, you've been very vocal about this, wanting to face John Cena before he's done. With everything that's happened lately, I know he's got a few dates left. Is there still a possibility that it's on the table that we see John Cena step into a TNA ring to face Joe Hendry?
What do you think?
I think it could happen. I mean, never say never, right?
I mean, if you'd have showed up in the Rumble was crazy. But if I'd have told you in even March, hey, I'm going to wrestle Randy Orton at WrestleMania in a featured singles match, that would have sounded pretty crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does me wrestling John Cena sound that crazy?
No, it does not.
It's within the realms of possibility. If it happens, it's because I did everything I was supposed to do. If it doesn't happen, it's because I dropped the ball. And like I say, that's already happened once this year. Can't let it happen again.
We're just going to put it out in the universe. Joe Hendry will become the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He'll beat Trick Williams, and then Joe Hendry will then defend his TNA World Heavyweight Championship against John Cena. Maybe a champion versus champion match.
Never say never.
I like the way you think about that. And, getting ready to wrap things up. I know we've got a little bit left in this interview. A lot of people on the internet, of course, anytime that Joe Hendry posts something, it goes very, very viral. Recently, you posted a photo with another superstar that has taken the world by storm, Mr. Iguana, and you asked everybody to name the duo. Is that something that you'd want, like a Joe Hendry and Mr. Iguana tag team just taking over maybe TNA and the world?
100%. I was devastated that we didn't have a tag match in AAA. They need to do a tag match with me and Mr. Iguana.
What about this? And we talked to the powers that be, Mr. Iguana and Joe Hendry versus the Nemeths for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship tag team.
I mean, you know what? I'd never thought about that. But if there was if there was someone to look, I know, look, me and Elijah have a bit of an alliance here, but that might be the one exception. I need him to take a step aside for Mr. Iguana. I think that is the one.
I mean, there's your way to get your payback on the comments that Nick said. You take his title away from him. You and Mr. Iguana are tag team champions, and we'll figure out a name for this duo after you become tag team champions.
Yeah, sounds good.
I think that's the great thing. Last thing I want to ask to you, because this is always a fun thing, and with you being, not only a wrestler but a musician. If we were to scroll through Joe Hendry's playlist right now, we're scrolling through and we stop upon a song that we're like, we didn't think Joe Hendry listens to this. What is that song on your playlist that would surprise us?
I don't know. I mean, well, my favorite song of all time is "The Gambler" by Kenny Rogers. I think that would be fairly surprising to people.
Mm-hmm. Solid pick. And I mean, it fits Joe Hendry. I mean, you've gambled on yourself, and it's obviously paid off with everything.
I like it. Yeah.
It's a life metaphor right there. Joe Hendry, it's an honor and a privilege to have you back here on the show. Before we let you go, is there anything that you want to say to people watching or listening to this right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I would encourage you to come down and see TNA Wrestling live. We're very fan focused. It's going to be an amazing experience here in Pittsburgh. We're doing Friday and Saturday at the UPMC Arena, Event Center. Again, what we're gonna do is we're gonna trial something new. We now have, not only do we have a free subscription tier on TNA Plus, but at certain tiers, what we're going to offer is usually you would have to wait a week or so to see the television that we tape. Whereas if you are a TNA Plus subscriber on a certain tier, you will be able to watch the show live in Pittsburgh. So if you're not able to be there in person, that'd be a great way to watch it. But if you are nearby, come on down.